Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and today I want to speak about the history that some of these guns go through. When you pick up a military surplus or military service firearm, you kind of know intellectually that there's a pretty good chance it may have been in some places and seen some things that are horrific or fascinating or certainly quite the experiences. But you generally don't ever really know. In the best case, sometimes we can date guns to specific battles. There are some places or specific campaigns, and we can say, well, I know that this Arasaka was captured on Okinawa, or I know that this Martini carbine served in the Boer War. But beyond that, you typically don't know what else a gun actually went through. Well, today we do. This is a Webley-Fosbery model of 1901 automatic revolver, and engraved on the backstrap of the grip is Captain Norman Fraser, Cameron Highlanders. And the owner of this particular pistol has done some research on Captain Fraser of the Cameron Highlanders and uncovered quite a bit about him. And so today I want to take a look at who was Captain Norman Fraser of the Cameron Highlanders. His full name, Captain Percy William Norman Fraser. He was born on January 22nd, 1879, and graduated in 1898 from the Sandhurst Royal Military Academy. On April 6th, specifically, he was made a second lieutenant in the Queen's Own Cameron Highlanders. Now, 1898, this is pretty early. There's a lot of British colonial expedition combat that our Captain Fraser is going to see here. In 1898, right off the bat, he participated in the Nile expedition. He was promoted to lieutenant on April 1st, 1899. 1900, he served as a staff lieutenant in the Second Boer War, saw action in the Orange Free State on the Viet River and the Zond River, saw action in the Transvaal at Johannesburg, Pretoria, and Diamond Hill in 1900. November of 1900, he saw action in the Orange River Colony outside of Ladybrand. 1901, in September, he was in action in the Zululand on the Natal frontier. 1902, further action in the Cape Colony. Following all of this extensive combat service in the Boer War, he was promoted to captain on April 21st of 1902. On June 26th of 1902, in further recognition of his combat actions in South Africa, he was inducted into the Distinguished Service Order, or as they would say, he was created a colleague of the Distinguished Service Order. He would go on from 1902 to 1904 to see action in Somaliland, where he was awarded another combat medal for actions at Jibali. In 1909, he was promoted to major. And then, of course, we get to the Great War. Obviously, 1914, World War I breaks out, and men like Captain Fraser were the first to go see service with the British Expeditionary Force. Now, the brigade that his unit belonged to had begun September of 1914 with 153 officers and 5,000 men. And by the end of the Battle of Ypres, it would be down to 8 officers and less than 500 men. So more than 90% casualties. Now, the daily war diary of Fraser's unit, the 2nd Battalion of the Queen's Own Cameron Highlanders, tells us what happened on the night of February 23rd, 1915. So what happens that evening is roughly as follows. A man is reporting in to the number 16 trench. He is... what he's doing out, we don't know. Running orders, getting food, delivering mail, could be anything. Well, he's hit by German rifle fire, and he goes down wounded. 2 men immediately go to his aid, a Lieutenant Nicholson and a Sergeant McIver. In the process of attempting to pull him into the trench into safety, both of them are hit and wounded. At that point, we need more help. A man goes to number 17 trench to try to get a stretcher. Lieutenant Davidson arrives from the number 17 trench, and Captain Fraser arrives from the number 13 trench. The 2 of them go to start trying to help these men. Specifically, they start with Lieutenant Nicholson, who's wounded and in the line of fire. They go out to try and retrieve him, and as they're pulling him onto the stretcher, both are also hit by German fire. Our Captain Fraser dies on the spot. Nicholson, the man they were attempting to save, would die about an hour later. In total, this one little tiny microcosm of the Battle of Ypres, one man being wounded starts a chain of events that result in 6 men dead and 6 more men wounded. And that really is World War I in Microcosm. And all of that we can hold here in our hand with Captain Fraser's Webley-Fosbery service revolver. Whether he carried this with him at the time, we don't know. Interestingly, there is very little documented evidence of Webley-Fosberys being actually used in the Great War, but this might be one of the few. I always find it fascinating to find these specific stories where we can tie a gun like this and a man like Captain Fraser to a specific set of actions in a specific war. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, please subscribe on YouTube and on Full30, and tune back in. Next time we'll take a look at another unusual firearm, perhaps one that doesn't have this sort of specific war provenance.